Heartwarming discovery, little girl's incredible call reveals an unexpected billionaire father. On a golden afternoon, when the sun painted everything in a soft glow, 8-year-old Lucy Williams stumbled upon her grandmother's old attic. It was a treasure trove of dust and memories. With her heart racing, she sifted through a mountain of forgotten boxes, each layer revealing remnants of a loving past. But it was the sight of an old flip phone, matte and neglected, that truly sparked her curiosity. Little did Lucy know, this phone would change everything. Feeling mischievous, Lucy flipped it open and pressed a button. Before she knew it, a voice answered, "Hello? Hi. Who is this?" Lucy chirped, her small fingers gripping the phone tightly. She didn't even consider the gravity of the situation, it was just a game to her. On the other end, James Ellison, a billionaire known more for avoiding the public eye than gracing it with his presence, was taken aback. No one ever called him, not after he built walls around his life. This is James. Who's speaking? I'm Lucy. I found this phone. Are you a real superhero? She giggled, kicking her feet in delight. For the first time in years, James felt the warmth of pure, unfiltered joy seep into his lonely heart. Their conversations quickly grew into a unique friendship. Lucy shared tales of her hard-working mother juggling multiple jobs. She's a superhero, too. Lucy insisted, her eyes sparkling with pride. To James, this little girl's laughter became the melody he so desperately needed. He listened with tears ready to spill, touched by her bright spirit amidst their differing lives. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But life in their small town was no fairy tale. Whispers about their connection, class disparities, judgments, and stark contrasts began to creep into Lucy's joyful world. Her mother, a fiercely protective solo parent, wrestled with the news of a billionaire friend. The fallout was immediate. "Lucy, you need to be careful. People like him, they don't understand us," she shouted, fear and concern dancing in her eyes. Lucy felt torn, her heart aching with confusion. She loved James, the kind-hearted man who listened to her dreams and fears. But she didn't want to lose her mom, the one stable force in her life. The town soon faced a crisis, a storm of emotions sweeping over them. As frustrations mounted, James realized it was time to confront his past. He could no longer remain in isolation. Can his wealth bring them together? Can Lucy hear her mother's fears and still nurture her desire for connection? Lucy clutched the phone tightly, her heart pounding with hope and fear. "James," she whispered, "can you really be my dad?" In that moment, as the sun set and the sky turned hopeful shades of orange and pink, questions filled the air. Would their friendship survive the storm? Would love truly unite them against a world that often felt divided? The phone felt heavy in Lucy's small hands. Her heart raced as she awaited James' response. She wanted to believe that he could be the father figure she so desperately wished for, but doubt crept in like a shadow. Would he want to be in her life? James paused, caught off guard by her innocence. "Lucy," he finally said, his voice trembling slightly, "why do you want that?" "Because," she answered, her voice ringing with sincerity, "you make me feel happy. Mom works so hard, and I think it'd be great to have someone else around who cares, too." James felt a lump form in his throat. He hadn't realized how lonely he truly was until this little girl pulled him into her world. "I care. I really do," he reassured her, though his words felt fragile, like glass. Meanwhile, Lucy's mother, Beth, paced back and forth in her living room. She couldn't shake the unease that settled in her stomach. Every time Lucy picked up the phone to talk to James, it reminded her that their lives were worlds apart. "I'm doing this for her," she whispered to herself, struggling against the swelling tide of anxiety. Refusing to let Lucy's innocent joy become a source of concern, she resolved to protect her daughter at any cost. Later that evening, as Lucy sat cross-legged on her bedroom floor, she fiddled with the flip phone, anxious to talk to James again. His next words were as vital as water in a drought. "Lucy, what's your favorite thing in the world?" "My mom's chocolate chip cookies," she exclaimed, her face lighting up. "I love baking with her." "Do you know how to bake?" "Oh, a little," he admitted. "But I've never tried making cookies." "That's okay. I can teach you. It will be fun." Her voice was a melody, bright and hopeful. James smiled, imagining a kitchen filled with flour, laughter, and the warm aroma of cookies filling the air. "Maybe we could do a baking video together?" he suggested, and Lucy squealed with delight. But outside the cozy bubble of their conversation, the tension bubbled. Beth overheard Lucy's laughter from the other room and felt a surge of protectiveness. She knocked on the door, her voice firm. "Lucy, come here for a minute, please." Lucy's heart sank as she saw the serious look on her mother's face. "What's wrong, Mom?" "We talk about your friendship with Mr. Ellison," Beth began, trying to keep her tone calm. "I love that you're happy, but I need you to know that not everyone is going to understand this. I don't want you to get hurt. I want to get hurt. He cares about me." Lucy argued back, determination igniting her spirit. "Sweetheart," Beth sighed, "it's not about not caring. I just want to keep you safe." In that moment, Lucy felt the weight of her love for James clash with her loyalty to her mother. "But he makes me feel special, Mom." "Just promise me you'll be careful," Beth replied, her voice trembling with unspoken fear. Lucy nodded hesitantly. She knew her mother had a point, but her heart didn't want to hear it. That phone call felt like a lifeline. As evening turned to night, Lucy lay in bed, the flip phone close at hand. Stars twinkled outside her window, each one a reminder of the hope flickering in her heart. She wanted to believe that she could have both a mother who loved her fiercely and a father who cared, too. But as she drifted into a restless sleep, the echo of her mother's warning lingered in her mind. Would this fragile connection to James be worth the risk? The next day, Lucy made a decision. It was time to introduce James to her world, but would they be ready for what that meant? The sun peeked through Lucy's curtains, turning her room into a warm haven. Her mind was buzzing with excitement and nerves. Today was the day she would introduce James to her little world. After breakfast, Lucy slipped into her favorite dress, a cheerful floral pattern that made her feel bright and confident. She could almost hear James's laughter ringing in her ears and imagine how it would echo in her cozy home. Today wouldn't just be about cookies, it would be about making memories. "Mom, can I have a friend over today?" Lucy asked, her voice tinged with anticipation. Beth was at the kitchen counter, pouring herself a cup of coffee, when an uneasy feeling washed over her. "A friend? Who is it?" "Mr. Ellison. He wants to learn how to bake cookies." Lucy's eyes sparkled with joy. Beth almost dropped her mug. "Lucy," she started but caught herself. Keeping Lucy happy was important. Still, the thought of James stepping into their lives sent a shiver down her spine. "Sweetheart, maybe we should wait a little longer?" "Please, Mom. I really want him to come," Lucy pleaded, her small hands clasped together in a hopeful gesture. With a deep breath, Beth nodded slowly. "All right," she relented, her heart heavy with uncertainty. "But just for a little while." Lucy squealed, unable to contain her joy. "Thanks, Mom. I promise we'll have a great time." As the hour approached, anticipation filled the air. Lucy bounced on her toes, glancing out the window every few minutes. The street was still, but then she saw his car, an old blue sedan that seemed to fit him perfectly. Her heart raced. When James knocked on the door, Lucy's stomach flipped. She opened it with a grin, her excitement spilling out like confetti. "You made it." "Of course I did," James said, his eyes crinkling with warmth. "I wouldn't miss baking cookies for the world." The moment he stepped inside, an electric current filled the room. It wasn't just Lucy who felt it. Beth, standing just behind Lucy, felt the pull too. Even her protective instincts were tinged with curiosity as she watched them interact. "Do you have your recipe?" James asked, his face breaking into a playful smirk. "Yes," Lucy said, her voice bubbling over. "Follow me." They raced into the kitchen, laughter bouncing off the walls. Beth watched them, a mix of worry and something lighter fluttering in her chest. She didn't want to admit it, but seeing Lucy so happy made her heart ache with a longing she had almost forgotten. The kitchen soon filled with the smell of flour and sugar, and Lucy showed James how to measure everything out. She explained each step with the utmost seriousness, her small hands gesturing dramatically as she spoke. James listened intently, completely captivated, and for a moment, the worries of their differing worlds faded away. "Now we need to mix it all up," Lucy exclaimed, her eyes wide with excitement. "You can do it first." He took the bowl and began to stir, but his clumsiness sent flour flying everywhere. Lucy burst into laughter, the sound so pure and joyful that even Beth couldn't help but chuckle. Yet, even as they bonded over cookie dough, a creeping thought lingered in Beth's mind. Would their connection be as light as the cookies they were making? Or would it end in unexpected complexities that could hurt Lucy? As the oven timer buzzed, Lucy clapped her hands, "They're ready." But just as she shuffled forward, the doorbell rang again. A shadow loomed behind it, and Lucy's heart dropped. They were completely unprepared for who might be on the other side. Beth's breath caught in her throat. Who could that be? Lucy's wide eyes filled with curiosity and unease. The day's warmth shifted, and it felt like the moment was hanging on a cliff. Would this lead to a sweet treat or a bitter surprise? As Lucy opened the door, the world outside seemed to hold its breath, waiting for what would come next. Lucy pulled the door open, her heart pounding. The warm sunlight spilled onto the porch, casting a golden glow, but all she saw was a tall figure standing before her. He was wearing a crisp white shirt and wore a confident smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "Hello there. Is this Lucy's house?" Yes." "Who are you?" Lucy asked, glancing back at her mom, who had stepped closer, concern etched on her face. The man's smile faltered slightly, and he cleared his throat. "I'm looking for Lucy's mom. I'm Martin, a family friend of your dad's." "A family friend?" Lucy's chest tightened. She could feel a knot tightening in her stomach. She had never heard mention of a friend with that name. "My dad?" she echoed, confused. Beth stepped forward, her guard up. "What do you mean? Who's your friend?" "Lucy's father isn't what?" Martin interrupted gently. "He isn't around?" His voice, although calm, carried an undertone of urgency. Lucy glanced between her mom and Martin. The atmosphere had shifted from joyful to tense. "Mom, who is he?" she asked again. Beth closed her eyes briefly, trying to calm her racing heart. She was not ready for this. "Martin, it's not the right time for this. We don't want any trouble." But the man shook his head. "I'm here to speak about things that are important." Your father, he didn't have a chance to explain things. His expression softened, and his voice became more personal. "Your father wants to meet you, Lucy. He's missed you." The kitchen fell silent, the aroma of baked cookies fading into the background. Lucy felt as if the ground had shifted beneath her feet. "Missed me?" Beth's gaze turned steely, protective instincts kicking in. "Lucy, you don't have to listen to him. You don't know who he is." Martin took a small step forward. "I promise, Lucy, I'm here to help. It's complicated. But you have every right to know the truth. It's not just complicated. It's unfair." Beth shot back, her voice trembling with emotion. "That man left us, Martin. He made his choices." Lucy stood frozen by the door, her heart racing. She felt torn, caught between her mother's fierce love and the sudden weight of who her father might really be. "Is he okay?" Martin's expression softened even further, a flicker of sympathy crossing his face. "He's doing well, Lucy. He's just thinking about how to be part of your life moving forward. But I don't understand why now." She felt tears stinging her eyes, a mix of hope and pain. James, who had quietly been watching the exchange, stepped forward. "Lucy, you don't have to do this if you don't want to." But even as he spoke, Lucy felt the longing for a father she barely knew battling against the fear of the unknown. Beth stood firm, but the turmoil in her eyes betrayed her worries. "You can't just barge back in, Martin. It doesn't work that way." The tension thickened like the cookie dough they had been mixing moments before. Lucy's small hands clenched into fists at her sides. Life had been simple, sweet, before this stranger's arrival. But what if this was an opportunity? As silence fell heavy around them, Lucy took a deep breath, her decision starting to form. The door stood open, revealing a path not just into the world outside, but into a new chapter she never anticipated. "What do I do?" she whispered, her voice barely audible, yet filled with a weight that mattered. With both excitement and fear swirling inside her, Lucy stood at a crossroads. Would she embrace the man who claimed to be her father, or would she protect her heart from the complexities he brought? The cookies sat cooling, unattended, aromatic and sweet, but their sweetness paled in comparison to the bittersweet tension brewing right before her. As she looked into Martin's earnest eyes, all she could think was what this moment might hold. What if it changed everything? Lucy's heart raced, each beat pounding in her ears like a warning drum. Standing at that open doorway, she felt exposed, as if the warm sun was peeling back layers of her carefully constructed life. Martin's gaze was steady, almost pleading, and for a moment, the world around her faded. She could hardly process the whirlwind of emotions tumbling through her. "Mom," she finally said, her voice quivering. "What should I do?" Beth's eyes flashed with a mixture of fear and anger. "Lucy, I don't trust him. We don't know anything about this man or what he really wants." "He seems sincere," Lucy countered, her voice barely above a whisper. "Sweetheart, sincerity isn't enough when it comes to someone who has hurt us before." Beth's words were sharp, yet Lucy could see the cracks in her mother's armor. Deep down, Beth was wrestling with the past, grappling with the choices she made to protect her daughter and herself. Martin stepped forward slightly, as if sensing the chasm of conflict growing wider. "I understand," he said softly. "You both have every reason to be wary. But it's not about me, it's about Lucy. It's about the connection she deserves to know." Lucy felt a surge of impatience. "But he's my dad." The phrase hung thick in the air, carrying the weight of a longing she had buried deeply. "I want to know him. Lucy." Beth's tone was more cautious now, brimming with understanding. "I know you want to reach for something you've missed all these years, and it's okay to want that. But promise me you'll stay grounded. This is such a big step." She wanted to promise her mom, she really did. Yet a flicker of rebellion ignited within her. What if this is my chance? What if he's different now? What if her voice cracked? What if he really does want to be a father? "Lucy, we can't just overlook the hurt he caused." Martin intervened again, regarding them both with a calmness that belied the situation. Honestly, I can't take away the pain from the past. I won't pretend it didn't happen. But I do think your father genuinely regrets his choices and wants to do right by you, even if it's difficult. Tears threatened to spill from Lucy's eyes as she absorbed his words. Why should I trust you? You're just a stranger, she said, her voice trembling. I understand, Martin replied, his tone steady and sincere. It's not easy. But trust is built over time. I just want the opportunity to show you that he loves you, Lucy. That's all. Beth's jaw tightened, still standing between Martin and Lucy like a shield. He's not just a stranger, he's your father. The rawness of Beth's fear resonated in Lucy, but a part of her ached to leap into this uncertainty, to feel anything change in her sheltered existence. The tension stretched and snapped, the silence pregnant with possibilities. Can we at least talk? Lucy blurted out, her pulse quickening, the words spilling out before she could second-guess herself. Just, maybe I can hear what you have to say, and then decide? As Martin nodded slowly, a flicker of hope ignited within Lucy. The tiniest inkling of a dream she had kept tucked away since childhood began to rise. Maybe, just maybe, this man could fill a void she never fully acknowledged. We can sit on the porch, Beth said uncertainly, her protective stance wavering just the slightest bit. But I'll be right here, and we'll keep this simple. Thank you, Martin said. He flashed a grateful glance at Lucy, and despite her fears, she couldn't help but feel a bond form between them, a connection she'd always longed for. As they settled onto the porch, Lucy realized this was just the beginning of a conversation that could unravel a past eclipsed by questions. She looked out toward the horizon, feeling the first hints of a future unfurling, one where her heart could finally heal. Tell me about my dad, she prompted, her voice steady, even as her heart raced. What stories would emerge from this mystery? And could they lead to a different kind of future than the one she'd always imagined? The porch creaked softly under their weight as they settled in, the air thick with anticipation. Lucy sat between her mother and Martin, the atmosphere heavy with unspoken words and buried emotions. For Lucy, this was no longer just a conversation, it felt like uncovering a buried treasure, a map leading her toward a part of her past she barely knew existed. Martin took a deep breath, gathering his thoughts with care. I know this isn't easy, he began, his voice breaking slightly. But I want you to understand how much I've thought about you over the years. I made a lot of mistakes, and leaving was the biggest one. Lucy felt heat rise in her chest, a mix of sadness and anger swirling around. You left us, she said quietly, the words heavy. No explanations, nothing. Just, gone. I was scared and I didn't know how to handle it, he replied, his eyes searching hers. I made the wrong choice. I never stopped loving you, Lucy. I hated myself for it. Beth shifted slightly, her protective instinct flaring. You say you're sorry now, but will those words make the hurt disappear? Can you just erase the years of absence? It's not that simple. Martin nodded, accepting the hard truth. I know words can feel empty. I'm not here to ask for forgiveness right away. I just want a chance to show you that I've changed. He glanced over at Lucy, his expression softening. I missed your milestones, it breaks my heart to think about all the time we lost. But I want to be here now. Lucy studied Martin's face, searching for honesty. What does that mean? She asked, her voice shaking but determined. What does being here look like? It means being transparent, communicating, and being present, he responded, earnestness etched in his features. I want to learn who you are, what you like, what you don't, and be there for you in those moments. From the little things to the big ones. A lump formed in Lucy's throat as she imagined a life with a dad who cared, a dad who would cheer for her at games, ask about her friends, and listen to her dreams. Yet doubt nipped at her heels. Why now? What changed? Martin hesitated, his gaze dropping to the weathered wood of the porch. I had a near miss, a moment that made me realize life is fleeting. It forced me to reckon with my past choices. I've been through therapy, and I understood the kind of hurt I caused. And how I want to do better. The sound of distant laughter from a group of children playing nearby pierced through the tension. Lucy felt a wave of envy. Her childhood felt so different, quiet and lacking. She looked at her mother, who was also grappling with her emotions. "Mom, we had fun without him," Lucy said softly. "But what if this could be different?" Beth's protective instincts battled with the desire to let Lucy make her own choices. "Lucy, I'll support you, but I need to be clear. If he fails you again, it won't be easy to pick up the pieces." "I understand those concerns," Martin said, voice low but steady. "Lucy deserves more than broken promises." Lucy could feel a sense of hope flickering inside her. She wanted to believe that maybe, just maybe, Martin could truly change. "So, what's next?" she asked tentatively. "I'd love to take you out for ice cream, get to know the real you." "Just talk and see where it goes," Martin offered, his eyes alight with cautious optimism. With a glance at her mother, Lucy took a leap into the unknown. "Ice cream sounds nice," she agreed, her heart racing with a blend of anxiety and excitement. That decision hung in the air like a fragile promise, as if they had crossed an invisible line toward the unknown. As they all rose to head inside, Lucy felt a thrill course through her. Would this be a facade, or could it usher in a new era of missed opportunities being reclaimed? What would ice cream reveal about this man who was supposed to be her father? But could this tentative hope hold the weight of her heart in hand, or would it slip through her fingers once more? The sun was beginning to dip low in the sky, casting golden light through the trees as they moved inside. Lucy felt her heart pound in her chest. Every step toward the kitchen felt heavy with anticipation and a hint of fear. What if this was all just a dream? What if this man who had once been a stranger to her was now trying to be a father? Beth lingered a few steps behind, watching Martin as he made his way to the fridge, searching for flavors of ice cream. She couldn't deny the glimmer of hope in Lucy's eyes, but every protective instinct in her screamed to keep her daughter shielded from pain. "Just don't get your hopes up, Lucy," Beth whispered softly, almost to herself, but her voice carried a weight of worry. Martin turned, catching the exchange. "I know I'm asking a lot from both of you," he said, his voice steady but tight. "I've hurt you, and those scars will take time to heal. But I'm committed to trying, and I want to show you that I mean it." Lucy watched his expression, searching for signs of sincerity. There was a kind of intensity there that steadied her. She wanted to trust him, but the previous memories of disappointment loomed heavily in her mind. Can you really change?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper, as if afraid of the answer. "I don't want to keep wondering." Martin paused, the ice cream container in his hands, and nodded slowly. "I have to change. I want to have another chance to mess this up. I want to learn how to be a father to you. I do. But trust takes time, and I'll have to earn it." This made Lucy's chest tighten. What did it mean to trust again? "Let us start here, then," Beth suggested, her voice firm yet soft, trying to ease the tension. "Just some ice cream and conversation. No big expectations." Lucy nodded, taking a breath. "Yeah, no big expectations." They gathered around the small table, the familiar smell of vanilla and chocolate swirling in the air. As scoops of ice cream were served, a flicker of laughter bubbled up when Martin made a spectacle of struggling with the hard chocolate. "You'd think I hadn't had ice cream in 10 years, he joked, feigning battle with the spoon, trying to win them over. Lucy found herself letting out a laugh, the nervous edges of her heart softening just a bit. It felt good to laugh. Beth watched as Lucy began to relax, a small smile creeping onto her face. She had taken a huge step today. "So, What's your favorite flavor, Lucy? Let's put him to the test, Beth said, nudging Martin playfully. Definitely mint chocolate chip. Lucy chimed, excitement glimmering in her eyes. Mint chocolate chip? Martin's expression twisted humorously. I didn't know that was an option. I'll remember that. The air brightened as conversation flowed, sharing stories about school, favorite games, and silly childhood memories. For the first time, Lucy felt as if Martin was more than just a distant figure. He was becoming a person, her person, and somehow, the past was starting to feel more like a story than a wound. But under her smile, unease bubbled. Was this a turning point or just a fleeting moment? As they polished off the ice cream, Beth leaned back in her chair, finally letting her guard down a little. You know, Martin, if you really intend to stick around, you might want to learn how to make a proper sundae. Martin looked at her, his brow raised in mock challenge. I'll take that as a sign I have a chance to redeem myself. Next time, Sunday skills it is. Lucy's heart swelled slightly, caught in the mix of newfound hope and lingering fears. There was a sliver of light between them, a possibility of something real. But just as she was about to voice her thoughts, the doorbell rang, cutting through their moment. Her heart jolted again. Who could it be? Did it threaten their fragile balance? Could it bring in more complications? With every footstep toward the door, a new wave of uncertainty washed over her. What if this new visitor was a reminder of the past or worse, a reason for betrayal? She hesitated, glancing at Martin and Beth, unsure of what was about to unfold. The moment of truth lingered in the air. What awaited them on the other side? Lucy took a breath, her hand resting on the cool doorknob. The tremor in her fingers betrayed how tightly wound she felt. She could feel Martin's gaze on her, steady yet uncertain, as if he was bracing for the unknown along with her. Are you okay? Beth asked, her voice laced with concern. You don't have to answer it if you don't want to. Lucy shook her head, squaring her shoulders. I need to know who it is. With resolve, she turned the doorknob and pulled the door open. The surprised gasp that escaped her lips echoed in the quiet hallway. Standing there, dressed in an expensive suit that seemed utterly out of place in their modest home, was a woman about her mother's age, with piercing blue eyes and an air of authority. Lucy? The woman asked, her voice soft yet commanding, like someone used to being heard. I need to speak with you. An uncomfortable silence stretched between them. Lucy glanced back at Martin and Beth. They were both staring at the visitor with a mixture of confusion and concern, their expressions grim. Do I know you? Lucy managed to say, her heart racing. The woman seemed familiar yet foreign, like a character from a dream. You don't. But I'm here because of your father. The word hung in the air, heavy and unsettling. My name is Elise. Your father? The words felt foreign on Lucy's tongue, tinged with disbelief. Martin shifted uncomfortably beside her, casting a wary glance at Elise. What do you mean? He asked, stepping slightly forward. Elise turned her gaze to Martin, a flicker of recognition crossing her face. You must be Martin. I didn't mean to intrude on whatever this is, but there are important matters to discuss. It's about Lucy's future. Why don't you come in? Beth interjected, her protective instincts kicking in as she moved aside to let Elise into the house. Lucy felt a mix of emotions twisting in her gut: confusion, anger, curiosity. She stepped back to allow the woman entry and closed the door behind them. Elise looked around the small kitchen, her gaze landing on Lucy. I know this must be overwhelming, she said gently. But there's something you need to understand. Your father, your biological father, wants to meet you. The word sent a shiver down Lucy's spine. A father she had never known? Why now? She asked. Why didn't he come before? Elise sighed, visibly frustrated. There were complications. His life took unexpected turns, but he has finally made a decision to take responsibility. He wants to be a part of your life. Lucy's heart raced, every beat echoing her disbelief. For all the years she had wondered what it would be like to have her father, now that the moment had come, it felt like a perilous cliff. Martin's voice broke through her thoughts. And you believe him? You believe this is real? Elise's eyes softened, reflecting understanding. I wouldn't be here if it weren't. He cares, genuinely this time. But it's up to you if you want to take that step. Lucy felt a heavy weight settle in her chest. Could she trust this? Could she trust a man who had been absent for so long? She never thought she'd be in this position, facing a choice that could change everything once again. Lucy, this is a lot to take in, Beth said, stepping closer. You have every right to be cautious. We can deal with this together. Will you really want to meet him? Martin asked, concern etched into his features. What if it hurts you more? Lucy looked from Martin to Beth and then back to Elise, who stood quietly waiting for her answer. Her mind spun with possibilities, but deep within, a small part of her craved that connection. Can I think about it? She asked, her voice steady despite her racing heart. Elise nodded, a flicker of understanding crossing her face. Of course. But know that the door is always open. Just be careful with your heart. As Elise turned to leave, the door felt heavier than before, as Lucy faced this new whirlpool of emotions. Would she take the plunge into the unknown, or would she pull back to protect herself again? The door closed softly behind Elise, and silence descended. Now an even deeper question lingered, what would it mean if she said yes? Lucy's heart pounded once more as she looked from Beth to Martin. The moment of truth was drawing near, and she had a choice to make. But which path would she choose? Lucy stood in the stillness of the kitchen, the weight of the conversation pressing down on her like a thick fog. She could barely process the words that hung in the air, echoing through her mind, "Your father wants to meet you." It felt surreal, like a movie plot that didn't quite belong in her real life. What do we do now? Martin broke the silence, his voice low and uncertain. He was trying to gauge her emotions, and she could see the concern etched on his face. Lucy turned to him, feeling the warmth of his concern seep into her chest. I don't know, she admitted, the tension in her shoulders loosening just a bit. I thought I wanted this. But now? Beth stepped forward, placing a comforting hand on Lucy's arm. You've got time to think. There's no rush. If your father truly wants to be part of your life, he'll wait. Lucy nodded, appreciating Beth's words. It felt like a life raft in her swirling sea of thoughts. But the reality was that part of her felt alive, electrified, at the mere thought of finding out who she was missing. The chance to connect was both exhilarating and terrifying. Martin glanced at her, then back to Beth. What do you think he's like? The question hung in the air, inviting her imagination to fill in the blanks. Would he be someone she could admire? Or someone who would leave her disappointed? I don't know, Lucy whispered, her heart racing as she spoke. What if he's nothing like I imagined? What if everything changes? Beth shrugged lightly, her expression filled with love and understanding. Sometimes change can be good. Sometimes it can be scary. But you'll never know unless you try. Yes, but what if it breaks me? Lucy said, her voice trembling as those words slipped out. The vulnerability washed over her like a wave, fierce and crashing. If it does, you've got us to help you through it, Martin reassured, stepping even closer. We're in this together. Lucy felt a swell of gratitude. Their support was a safety net she had always relied on, and it provided the strength she desperately needed. Elise's voice echoed in her mind, be careful with your heart. She didn't understand what it meant to open her heart to someone she had never known, yet the idea clung to her like a haunting melody. What if opening that door brought joy? Or what if it led to heartbreak? Maybe I'll write a letter, Lucy mused aloud, her mind racing as plans started forming. Writing felt safer, offering her the chance to express herself without the immediate pressure of a face-to-face meeting. I can share my thoughts, my fears, everything, and then see if I even want to meet him. Beth smiled, her eyes lighting up with encouragement. That's a smart idea. You can take your time. Control the pace, set the rules. Martin nodded, his expression thoughtful. And if he really wants to get to know you, he'll appreciate your honesty. A flicker of determination ignited within Lucy. She thought about the letters she wrote in her journal, pouring out her feelings and dreams. This time, it would be different. It wouldn't just be words, it would be a bridge to someone she had a right to know. But as she considered the plan, unease settled in her gut. What if he doesn't respond? What if he doesn't want to know me after all this time? Then you'll have your answer, Beth said gently. Sometimes the truth is better than the uncertainty. That's the first step. Lucy took a deep breath, nodding slowly. She felt the tiniest flicker of hope within her, a modern-day spark in a world filled with darkness. But as the shadows loomed over her moment of discovery, another thought wormed its way in: what would happen if her father didn't fit into the life she built? The question echoed in her mind, a dark whisper amid the light of her newfound bravery. As she stood there, Lucy realized she wasn't just opening a door to another person, she was stepping into a whole new world. But would that world be a welcoming one? With her heartbeat quickening, Lucy stared out the window into the darkening sky, wondering what dawn would bring and, more importantly, whether she was ready for it. The next morning greeted Lucy with a gentle light filtering through her curtains, illuminating her room with a sense of hope. She had spent the night tossing and turning, her thoughts filled with visions of what could come next. Sitting at her small desk, she opened her journal, its pages worn but filled with dreams and words of comfort. Today was the day to write the letter that could change everything. She picked up her favorite pen and began to write, pouring out her heart onto the paper. "Dear Dad," she started, feeling the weight of those 2 words settle on her chest like a soft blanket. She thought about how long she had waited for this moment, the idea of a father figure looming larger in her mind than ever. As her pen glided over the page, she shared her feelings, her confusion, her excitement, and her fears. With each line, she felt lighter, as though the ink was capturing her doubts and setting them free. "I've missed you, even though I didn't know you," she wrote, letting tears trickle down her cheeks. This was real. Vulnerability was real. Not far from where she wrote, Beth stood in the kitchen, making breakfast. She felt a mix of pride and worry as she overheard Lucy's soft voice whispering the words she was writing aloud. It was a new beginning for her daughter, but damn, it was also scary. She picked up her phone, glancing through the contacts, thinking of reaching out to Martin for advice. Just then, Martin arrived at their door, a gentle knock breaking the morning silence. Lucy's heart fluttered. She felt nervous but excited, too. This man, with his good intentions, promised to support her as she took her steps forward. "Morning, Lucy." Martin greeted with a warm smile. "Ready for another round of ice cream practice?" Lucy giggled, the unease from the previous day fading slightly. "Maybe after breakfast?" "Perfect," he chuckled. "But I have a surprise for you." She tilted her head, curious about what could be so special. As she joined him in the kitchen, he reached into his bag and pulled out a beautiful, shiny container. "Homemade mint chocolate chip ice cream. Just for you." Her eyes sparkled at the gesture, the effort he had put in warming her heart. Beth looked up, surprised. "How did you?" "I have my ways," he smiled. "I wanted to bring you both something sweet to share." As breakfast unfolded, laughter floated through the air, filling the spaces that had once been so filled with tension. Even Beth, caught in the moment, found herself relaxing. Watching Lucy beam with joy over Martin's creation felt like a step toward something new, something united. After finishing breakfast, Lucy felt a rush of courage welling up inside her. She had made her decision. "Can I invite Martin to see my letter? I want him to know what I'm feeling," she asked her mother, her voice firm yet sweet. Beth looked contemplative. "It's your letter, Lucy. If you're comfortable sharing it, then go for it." The excitement surged through Lucy. "Okay. But just a little part, okay?" Lucy walked over to her desk, her heart racing. She reached for the letter, careful not to jostle the ink. "This is what I've written," she whispered, handing Martin the paper. He took it gently, scanning the words with care, his expression turning earnest. As he read, his eyes softened. "Lucy, this is beautiful," he said quietly, his voice filled with respect. "You have a way with words." She looked down, a blush creeping on her face. "I just want him to understand and to know me, too. They all will. Just like I want to know you," he said, tucking the letter in his pocket. "I believe in taking this journey with you." A warm wave of gratitude surged through the room, a harmony forming between their hearts. Lucy smiled wide, feeling supported and understood. Just as they began to step into the kitchen, an unexpected ring of Lucy's phone broke the moment a text from Elise popped up on the screen. Her heart raced. This was it. "Do you want me to read it, Lucy?" Beth asked. With a nod, Lucy handed over the phone. As Beth read the message aloud, everyone listened intently. "Lucy, whenever you're ready, your father would love to meet and talk. He wants nothing but to get to know you. Just let us know a good time." A beautiful surge erupted inside Lucy. This was the opportunity she had been hoping for. But the thought of meeting him face to face sent a jolt of apprehension through her. "Let us take it step by step," Martin suggested gently. "Maybe this week you could arrange to meet him somewhere neutral." "Okay?" Lucy nodded, weighing the risks in her heart. "A park maybe?" "Sounds good," Beth agreed, her tone soothing. "I'll be there with you no matter what." And so, with guarded excitement, they made plans. The day finally felt like it was moving forward. As Lucy lay in bed that night, her heart was a whirlwind of hope and uncertainty. She thought of the journey ahead, a journey that instead of fading into darkness, now sparkled with the light of understanding, patience, and love. Tomorrow would bring new possibilities, and she was determined to embrace whatever came her way alongside the support of those she loved. The adventure of reconnecting with her father was about to begin, and she was ready to take that leap. This was the moment for healing, for possibility, for transformation and connection. With a contented sigh, Lucy closed her eyes, allowing the dreams of a brighter tomorrow to wash over her. The dawn of a new relationship beckoned, reminding them that together, they would weather any storm. And just like that, in the soft quiet of the night, Lucy let herself believe in a future that could be filled with both love found and love nurtured. If only she could get the courage to step through that door, she might finally find the family bond she had always wanted. Now, go out there and make your dreams happen, too. Subscribe immediately to this channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment with your reactions and feelings about Lucy's journey. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share.